Have you ever stopped and asked yourself this one haunting question? What if the very thing I do in secret is slowly stealing the love, the passion, and the intimacy I crave in life? Think about it. When was the last time you held someone's hand and truly felt present? Truly alive? When was the last time a hug, a kiss, or even a simple look into someone's eyes made you feel like the world stopped spinning for a moment? Now imagine if the habits you repeat when you're alone, the ones you don't talk about, the ones you push into the shadows, are quietly robbing you of those feelings. I want you to listen carefully. This video is not here to judge you. It's not here to shame you. It's here to tell you something that will change the way you see yourself, your love life, and your future. In fact, if you stay until the end, you'll discover a truth so powerful that you may never look at this habit the same way again. And I promise you, once you know this, you'll feel an urge inside you to finally let go of it. Not because someone told you to stop, but because your heart, your mind, and your love life will demand it. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video, because what we're about to discuss isn't just information, it's transformation. And if you watch all the way through, you'll see why this knowledge is not just another self-help trick, but a shift that could completely reshape the way you love and connect with people. So, let me take you on a little journey. Close your eyes for a second and picture this. You're in love. Maybe it's your first love, or maybe it's the one that got away. You remember their smile, the way their laughter made you feel lighter, the way your heart would race just by hearing their name. Do you remember how your chest felt tight with excitement just before meeting them? That feeling of being alive, of being seen, of being desired. Now, I want you to imagine that feeling slipping away. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, like sand running through your fingers. Each time you retreat to that habit you don't talk about, that instant gratification, you trade in a piece of that fire. Little by little, the spark that once came so easily in love and intimacy begins to fade. You don't notice it right away. You tell yourself, it's normal, everyone does it, it's harmless. But one day you look at the person you love, or the person you want to love, and something feels different. The magic is duller. The connection feels weaker. You see, the truth is, our private habits shape the way we show up in public. They shape the way we love, the way we touch, the way we connect. And here's the shocking part. That habit of constant self-pleasure, of turning to pornography or to endless fantasies, doesn't just waste your time, it steals your passion, your confidence, your ability to love deeply. But don't take my word for it. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man, let's call him Daniel. Daniel was smart, funny, and kind-hearted. In school, he fell head over heels in love with a girl named Sarah. You know the kind of love. I'm talking about the one that makes you write songs in your notebook. The one that makes every day feel like summer. For a while, it was perfect. But slowly, Daniel's secret habits started to creep in. Nights spent watching videos. Mornings spent drained and tired. Days spent distracted. He didn't realize it, but the fire he once felt with Sarah was dimming. His confidence slipped, his drive faded, and the sparkle in his eyes when he looked at her wasn't the same. One day, Sarah said something that cut deep. "I don't feel like you want me anymore. I don't feel your passion." Those words echoed in Daniel's mind like a curse. He loved her deeply, but he couldn't deny it. She was right. His secret habit had stolen the very thing he thought it was harmless to indulge in. Now, I'm telling you this because maybe you felt the same. Maybe you've noticed yourself pulling away from someone you love. Maybe you've felt your energy drop, your motivation fade, or your desire for real intimacy weaken. And maybe you've even asked yourself, why do I feel so disconnected? Why do I feel so empty? Even after giving in to my urges. This is why you need to watch this video until the end. Because the truth I'm about to share with you will flip the way you see this habit. It will connect the dots between your private actions and your public love life. It will show you why letting go of this isn't about shame or control. It's about reclaiming your power, your confidence, and your ability to truly love. So buckle up, take a deep breath, and remember this: the life you want, the love you crave, the intimacy you dream of, it's all on the other side of this. Let's dive into the first truth. Number 1, the silent thief of desire. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever been with someone you truly loved, yet felt like the fire wasn't the same anymore? Maybe you cared for them. Maybe you still desired them. But deep down, something inside felt weaker. You couldn't explain it. You thought, Maybe it's stress, maybe it's work, maybe I'm just tired. But what if I told you the real thief of that desire is much closer than you think? See, here's the first truth you must understand. Masturbation, when it becomes a constant habit, silently steals your desire for real intimacy. Now let me share a story that might feel a little too close to home. There was a man named Ali. On the surface, Ali had everything together. He had a job, friends, even someone he was deeply interested in. Her name was Aisha. She was sweet, caring, and she genuinely liked him back. The first few weeks of dating were pure fire. The late-night talks, the butterflies before seeing each other, the electricity of holding hands for the first time. Ali was hooked, and so was she. But as the months passed, something changed. Ali still liked Aisha, but his passion toward her began to weaken. He found himself distracted, less excited, less present. At first, he brushed it off as normal, but in reality, Ali had been feeding another relationship, the one he had with his screen in his hand. Every night before sleeping, every stressful afternoon, every lonely morning, he escaped to the quick fix. And here's where it gets dangerous. The brain cannot tell the difference between the fantasy and the reality. Each time Ali turned to that habit, his brain rewarded him with dopamine, the chemical of pleasure. But instead of connecting that dopamine with Aisha, the woman in front of him, he connected it with pixels on a screen. His mind was rewired, so when Aisha leaned in for a kiss, when she held him close, when she wanted to connect deeply, Ali felt less fire. Not because he didn't love her, but because his brain had already been satisfied elsewhere. Now let me ask you, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever noticed that your excitement for real intimacy doesn't hit the same way it used to? That maybe you care about someone, you find them beautiful, but the spark feels weaker than it should? If you felt that, it's not your fault. It's not because you're broken. It's because your brain has been trained little by little to find satisfaction in the artificial instead of the real. And that, my friend, is the silent thief of desire. Think about this. When you were younger, before this habit became a daily cycle, intimacy was thrilling. The first time someone touched your hand, your whole body lit up. The first kiss? It felt like fireworks. That's because your brain was fresh, unpolluted, hungry for real connection. But over time, with repetition, the brain builds tolerance. Just like a drug, what once satisfied you no longer does. You need more, stronger, different. And the more you consume, the less real life excites you. That girl you once thought was the most beautiful woman in the world? She now competes with a highlight reel of fantasy your brain has been feeding on. Do you see how unfair this is? Not only to her, but to you. You're robbing yourself of the intensity of love, the fire of passion, the electricity of connection. And for what? A few minutes of escape followed by a hollow emptiness. I want you to pause for a second and think about someone you've loved or someone you still love. Remember how they smiled at you. Remember the way their voice made you feel safe. Now imagine being able to look at them again with that same intensity you once had. Imagine feeling butterflies again just from being close to them. That's not gone. It's not lost forever. It's simply buried under a habit that has numbed your senses. The moment you understand this truth, that constant masturbation isn't harmless, but is in fact stealing your desire for real intimacy, you begin to see the stakes differently. This isn't just about quitting a habit. This is about reclaiming your ability to love, to connect, to feel alive in the arms of another human being. And I know what you might be thinking, but it's just me. I'm not hurting anyone. My friend, that's what Daniel thought. That's what Ali thought. But the truth is, when your passion fades, when your spark weakens, the people you love feel it too. They feel the distance, the lack of presence, the lack of desire. And nothing hurts more in a relationship than feeling unwanted. Let me tell you something raw. Many relationships end not because of arguments, not because of money, not because of incompatibility, but because the fire of intimacy dies out. And behind that quiet death, for many men, is the shadow of this habit. But here's the good news. Just as the brain can be trained into numbness, it can also be retrained into passion. Every time you resist, every time you redirect, every time you choose real connection over artificial release, you are rewiring yourself back to life. You start noticing her again. Her smile, her eyes, her laughter, they all hit harder. You feel the butterflies again. And she feels it too. She feels wanted, desired, cherished. That, my friend, is the beginning of love reborn. So if you've been wondering why your relationships feel duller, why your love feels weaker, why your intimacy feels thinner. It's not fate. It's not bad luck. It's not that you've fallen out of love. It's the silent thief at work. And once you know it, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This is the first truth. This is the first step. And if you take it seriously, if you decide right now that your love life, your passion, your fire is worth more than a few minutes of escape, you will stop. Not because someone told you to, but because your heart demands it. Now that you know how this habit steals your desire for love, let's move to the next truth, something even more shocking. How this habit doesn't just steal your passion, but your very energy, your drive, your masculinity. Number 2, the drain of masculine energy and drive. Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up after a night of giving into that habit and felt drained? Not just physically tired, but mentally heavy. Like you had less drive, less ambition, less confidence to face the day. You told yourself, it's nothing. I'll be fine. But deep inside you knew something had shifted. That spark of masculine energy, the force that makes you ambitious, bold, confident, felt weaker. Here's the second truth you must face. Masturbation doesn't just steal your desire for intimacy, it drains the very energy that makes you strong, focused, and magnetic. To explain this, let me tell you a story. There was a man named Hassan. Hassan was a dreamer. He wanted to start his own business, build a career, and create a life where he could take care of his future family. He had vision, energy, and potential. And when he met a woman named Lena, he felt inspired. She believed in him, she admired his confidence, and her support made him want to become an even better man. But over time, Hassan noticed something strange. His fire for chasing goals dimmed. He procrastinated more, slept in late, and made excuses. His energy levels dropped, his workouts became half-hearted. And even when Lena cheered him on, he didn't feel the same motivation. What happened? It wasn't lack of talent. It wasn't lack of opportunity. It was the quiet drain of energy caused by his nightly habit. Each time Hassan gave in, he felt relaxed in the moment, but weaker afterward. He didn't realize it, but he was leaking the very fuel his body needed to stay strong and driven. Here's the science behind it. Your body's sexual energy is not just about reproduction. It's life energy. It's creative force. Ancient philosophies like Taoism, Ayurveda, and even Stoic wisdom teach us that sexual energy is the source of vitality, focus, and power. When you waste it constantly, you weaken yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And modern science confirms this. After ejaculation, dopamine spikes but then crashes, leaving you feeling unmotivated, tired, and foggy. Testosterone levels, which fuel your confidence, assertiveness, and drive, take a hit as well. Over time, this repeated cycle makes you feel less ambitious, less competitive, less magnetic. Now think about love. Think about relationships. Do you know what women are deeply attracted to? Energy, drive, purpose. That fire in a man's eyes that says, I'm going somewhere. I'm building something. I have a mission in life. But what happens when that fire fades? She feels it. She notices it. She starts to see you as passive, unmotivated, dull. She might not even be able to explain why, but she feels less drawn to you. Because deep down, masculine energy is not just about muscles or money. It's about your vitality, your drive, your focus. Let me make it personal. Have you ever had a period in your life where you were chasing goals with full force? Maybe you were hitting the gym hard, working on a project, chasing dreams. And during that time, you noticed people, especially women, looked at you differently. They respected you more. They admired your determination. That's the glow of masculine energy. Now compare that with the times you've been stuck in the cycle of overindulgence. Tired, unmotivated, distracted? The difference is night and day. And here's the heartbreaking part. Many men never realize why their confidence feels weak, why their ambition fades, why their relationships lose spark. They blame their job, their partner, their luck. But in reality, the quiet drain of this habit is sucking out their energy day after day. Let me bring this closer to love again. Imagine your partner, your girlfriend, your wife, or the woman you want to attract. She looks at you not just for your looks or your words, but for your energy. She can feel when you are powerful, focused, and alive. It's in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you hold her hand. It's in the fire in your eyes. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine she looks at you and sees tired eyes, low energy, half-hearted effort. Do you think she will feel deeply desired? Do you think she will trust that you can lead, protect, or inspire her? This is why so many relationships slowly die, not because love disappears, but because energy fades. And when a man loses his energy, he loses the respect and admiration of the woman he loves. But here's the beautiful truth. When you stop wasting your energy on this habit, your vitality returns. Slowly but surely, your testosterone rises. Your confidence builds, your focus sharpens. You wake up earlier, work harder, train stronger. You look at your woman with fire in your eyes and she feels it again. She feels desired. She feels safe. She feels proud to stand by your side. And if you're single, this energy makes you magnetic. People notice it. Women feel it even if you don't say a word. They feel your presence. Because masculine energy cannot be faked, it radiates naturally when you guard it. Build it and channel it. Let me ask you, what kind of man do you want to be? The one who hides in his room, drained, tired, and distracted? Or the one who walks into a room and commands respect without saying a word? The one whose woman feels proud to introduce him, proud to hold his hand, proud to build a life with? That choice begins with how you use your energy. Waste it on instant pleasure and you'll always feel weak. Protect it, channel it, and you'll feel unstoppable. So remember this, every time you say no to that urge, you're not losing pleasure, you're gaining strength. You're choosing to be alive, present, and magnetic. You're choosing to show up fully for the people you love. This is the second truth. Masturbation isn't just about desire, it's about energy. And if you want to be strong, confident, and attractive, you cannot afford to waste it. Now that you understand how this habit drains your drive and masculinity, let's move to the next truth. How this cycle doesn't just affect your body, but your mind, your focus, and even your self-worth. Number 3, the prison of the mind. Focus, confidence, and self-worth. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked in the mirror after giving into that habit and felt a wave of guilt? You didn't even need anyone else to tell you. You knew it. The heavy eyes, the slouched shoulders, the inner voice whispering, "Why did I do that again?" That's not just guilt. That's your self-worth taking a hit. See, here's the third truth. Masturbation doesn't only drain your body, it chains your mind. It steals your focus, your confidence, and the way you value yourself. Let me tell you a story about someone named Farhan. Farhan was intelligent, full of ideas, and had dreams of building something meaningful. But he carried a secret battle. Almost every day when no one was watching, he would give in to his urges. Each time he promised himself, "This is the last time." But the next day the cycle repeated. What Farhan didn't realize was that his secret battle wasn't just wasting time, it was training his brain into weakness. He would sit down to study, but his mind wandered. He would start working on his goals, but his energy scattered. Even when he spent time with people he loved, part of him felt distracted. Why? Because the mind that is constantly fed with instant gratification loses its ability to focus on long-term goals. Think about it. Your brain is designed to reward you with dopamine when you achieve something meaningful, when you study hard, work toward a dream, hit the gym, or share intimacy with someone you love. But when you flood your brain with artificial highs through constant self-pleasure, you hijack that system. Suddenly, the difficult but rewarding tasks of life feel boring. Reading a book feels dull. Building a career feels heavy. Even talking to someone you love feels like effort. You start craving shortcuts, easy fixes, more instant dopamine. And with that comes the next enemy, shame. Farhan began to feel like a hypocrite. Outwardly, he was smiling, working, living. Inwardly, he knew he was a slave to his urges. Every time he looked at the woman he liked, he felt a pang of guilt. If she only knew what I do in secret, would she still respect me? That thought alone ate away at his confidence. He avoided eye contact, spoke less boldly, and doubted himself constantly. Not because he lacked ability, but because he lacked integrity with himself. Let me ask you, have you felt this before? That quiet voice inside saying, "I'm not living up to my own standards"? Have you ever noticed how your confidence feels weaker after indulging in this habit? Like the world can somehow see your secret? That's the prison of the mind. And it's not just about guilt, it's about identity. Every time you give in, your brain quietly labels you. I'm weak. I can't control myself. I'm not worthy. And the more that label repeats, the more it becomes your reality. Now let's bring this back to love. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. A woman doesn't just fall in love with your looks or your words. She falls in love with how you carry yourself, how much you believe in yourself, how much you radiate strength. But how can you radiate strength if deep inside you feel like a slave? How can you look into her eyes with boldness if you secretly feel ashamed? How can you make her feel secure if you don't even feel secure in yourself? This is why many men who overindulge in this habit struggle with relationships. Not because they don't love enough, but because they don't love themselves enough. And when you don't value yourself, you subconsciously teach others not to value you either. But here's the good news. The same brain that can be trapped can also be freed. The same cycle that builds shame can be replaced with a cycle that builds pride. Every time you resist, your confidence grows. Every time you choose discipline over desire, your self-worth rises. Every time you win the battle with yourself, you look in the mirror and feel proud. Not because you're perfect, but because you're in control. And that control changes everything. Suddenly, when you speak, people listen. When you walk, people notice. When you're with someone you love, they feel your presence fully. Because confidence is not about pretending, it's about integrity. It's about knowing you are aligned with your values. Let me paint a picture. Imagine walking into a room with your head held high. Not because you're faking it, but because you know you're in control of yourself. Imagine looking at the woman you love, not with guilt, but with full honesty, knowing you have nothing to hide, no shame in your heart. Imagine pursuing your goals with laser focus, not scattered by distractions, but locked in with determination. That's what happens when you break free from this prison. And here's the most beautiful part. Your relationships transform. When you carry yourself with self-respect, others respect you too. When you feel worthy, others see your worth. When you are confident in yourself, the woman you love feels safe to trust you, to admire you, to give herself fully to you. But if you stay trapped, if you keep giving in, if you keep letting shame eat away at your confidence, you'll always feel like you're living a double life, outwardly smiling, inwardly broken. And that gap between who you are and who you want to be will only widen. So the question is, which story do you want to write? Do you want to be the man who hides, who feels unworthy, who doubts himself every time he looks in the mirror? Or do you want to be the man who stands tall, unashamed, bold, and focused, whose very presence inspires love and respect? The choice is yours, and it begins with understanding this third truth. Masturbation isn't just about the body, it's about the mind. It steals your focus, it eats your confidence, and it poisons your self-worth. But when you rise above it, you reclaim not just your energy, but your identity. Now that you understand how this habit affects your confidence and your mental focus, let's move to the next truth, how it doesn't just harm you, but also poisons the way you see love, intimacy, and even women themselves. Number 4, the illusion of control, why you keep failing. Imagine this. You're in love. You remember the first time you held her hand, the rush in your heart, the spark in your chest. It felt like you were finally in control of something powerful. But soon you realized you couldn't control her thoughts, her feelings, or her choices. You couldn't make her love you more, even if you gave your everything. That loss of control, it stung, didn't it? Now let me ask you honestly, don't you feel the same thing when you fall back into that cycle of endless self-pleasure? You tell yourself, this is the last time. Tomorrow I'll stop, but tomorrow comes and you're back at square one. Why? Because you're chasing an illusion of control. Here's the truth. Every time you fall into that habit, your brain convinces you that you're in control. You can start and stop anytime. But the reality, it's the habit that's controlling you. Just like in love, you can't control another person's heart. In this battle, you can't win if you keep lying to yourself about who's holding the power. Let me paint a picture for you. Think back to that one breakup that crushed you. Remember how powerless you felt? You scrolled through old texts, replayed memories, even begged for another chance. You weren't controlling love. Love was controlling you. That's the same way this habit owns your mind. It convinces you that you're choosing it, but in truth, it's choosing you. The Stoics had a saying, control what you can, let go of what you cannot. You can't control your past slips. You can't control the urges that suddenly pop up. But you can control your response. You can decide to stand firm, to walk away, to say, not this time. And here's the twist. The moment you accept you don't control everything, you gain real control. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. When you stopped begging that girl to come back, when you finally let go, that's when you started to heal. That's when you got stronger. So ask yourself right now, Are you still clinging to the illusion of control, letting this habit trick you? Or are you ready to take real control, the kind that comes from letting go? Because the day you accept this, truth is the day you stop being a prisoner of your urges and start being the master of your life. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt guilty right after doing it? That sinking feeling when you sit there alone, scrolling your phone, thinking, why did I just do that again? You close your eyes and remember the faces of the people you love. Maybe your partner, maybe your crush, maybe the girl you once dreamed of building a life with, and suddenly, you feel unworthy. You feel like you're drifting away from the man you could be. That's the painful truth about lack of control. It steals from your love life. It takes away your confidence to look her in the eyes. It makes you hesitate before sending that text. It makes you feel small when you should be standing tall. But here's the good news. Control is not some magical gift given only to a few strong men. Control is built, and the moment you begin to build it, everything, your love, your relationships, your destiny begins to change. Think about it. Imagine walking into a room where the woman you care about is sitting. If you've been wasting your energy, your shoulders slump, your eyes avoid hers, and your voice trembles with hidden shame. But if you've learned to control yourself, something shifts. Your back straightens, your voice carries strength, your eyes glow with clarity, and she feels it without you even saying a word. Because women don't just fall for words, they fall for energy. They fall for that invisible confidence that radiates when a man has mastered his desires. So how do you control it? Let me take you on a story. There was once a man who lived almost like a prisoner in his own room. Every night he would fall into the same cycle, scrolling, watching, giving in. He thought it was harmless, that no one would know. But deep inside he was breaking. He noticed that his girlfriend had stopped looking at him the same way. She felt his distance even when he sat right beside her. His touch felt weaker, his kiss felt shallow, his love felt empty. One night she whispered something that cut him like a knife. You're here, but you're not really here. And that was his wake-up call. He realized control wasn't about saying no to himself once in a while. It was about building a new identity. A man who no longer ran from temptation but stood above it. You see, control begins with awareness. The next time you feel the urge, don't fight it immediately. Pause. Ask yourself, if I give in right now, what will I lose? If I control myself, what will I gain? Close your eyes and picture her, the one you love or the one you want to attract. Picture her sitting across from you, staring into your eyes. Ask yourself, does she deserve a man who can't even control himself? Suddenly the urge feels different. It's not just about you anymore. It's about love. It's about respect. It's about building a future where your energy goes into real intimacy, not a temporary escape. But awareness is only the beginning. Control grows when you replace the habit with purpose. Every time you feel the pull, channel it. Go for a run, write her a letter you'll never send, hit the gym, or work on your goals. Let your body feel that you are not suppressing your desire, you are transforming it. Because here's the truth. Women can sense the difference between a man who is drained and a man who is full of life. They feel it in the way you hold their hand, the way you speak their name, the way you protect their heart. And if you're single, control is your secret weapon. While other men waste their strength, you build yours. While they chase cheap pleasure, you build unshakable discipline. And when the time comes to meet someone real, you'll look her in the eyes and she will feel that she's meeting a man unlike the rest. Remember, control is not about denying love. It's about protecting it. It's about ensuring that when you give yourself to someone, you give them your best, your strongest, most confident self. So next time you feel weak, remind yourself, I'm not losing control, I'm gaining love. And with every small victory, you'll see how your love life transforms. She will notice. She will feel it. And most importantly, you will respect yourself again. So my friend, let me leave you with this. Life gives us choices every single day. The choice to waste our strength or the choice to rise above it. The choice to chase temporary pleasure or the choice to build lasting love. The choice to live as a man who hides or the choice to stand as a man who shines. When you learn to control yourself, you're not just saying no to a habit. You're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to love that feels real. Yes to confidence that no one can shake. Yes to becoming the man you always knew you could be. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember this. Women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with presence. They want a man who shows up, fully alive, fully strong, fully there. That man can be you. So the next time temptation whispers in your ear, smile, because you now know the truth. Your energy is worth more than a moment of weakness. It is the fuel for your destiny. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,